Hey, this is Bill DeWeese with LongStrangeJourney coming at you with a very quick video on a hack for tying the blood knot. So we use the blood knot often for making compound leaders, and so you would see them commonly used in fly line where you're actually building up a leader of great length that has multiple segments of monofilament or fluorocarbon. Very specifically, it is springtime here in Florida and it is snook season. And when we go after the larger snook, especially if we're anywhere near a pressured environment, we need light, long leaders for stealth. This here is 20-pound fluorocarbon. This is 16-pound fluorocarbon. But that light, long leader that is focused on stealth will get that fish to bite. But if you're dealing with a very large snook, they have like 80 grit sandpaper in their mouth for teeth, and that will not last for a long fight, specifically if your lure is embedded deep into that fish's mouth. So what we build is a very small version of a compound leader called a bite leader. So here I'm going to couple 16-pound leader with a 30-pound bite leader. So this will be the long main leader connected to my braid. It's going to be pretty much 3/4 of the length of the rod for me specifically. And this is going to be my bite leader. It's a heavier mono leader or a heavier fluorocarbon leader that will be used for protection against abrasion. This is going to be about 8 inches, 6 inches. It can be as much as 10 inches, but you don't want it to be big and bulky in part of the presentation. You want it to be just not much up from the hook so that you can protect your leader from the abrasive powers of these fish. Where you don't have to worry about structure, but you have to worry about a long, prolonged fight where that line is in the fish's mouth. You could opt for 30, 40, or even 50-pound line. So let's get started. So first and foremost, the blood knot is actually pretty straightforward, simple, easy to tie, but it is a knot in which you have to hold two pieces of line together in tension without it falling apart. So I'm going to introduce a hack that makes tying this knot very easy. That hack consists of these two alligator clips. I keep these in my tackle box. These are a little bit larger for demonstration purposes. And I keep these crimped to a piece of paracord or any kind of cordage. Just keep them together, keep them in your box. That way they don't get lost. Everything I do is basically international orange, so everything's super easy to find. But this is actually going to be your third and fourth hand, because that's what's really complex about a blood knot. Is you either have to really waste a lot of line and do really long tag lines so that the knot doesn't fall apart on you, or you end up needing to have extra hands to be able to do that, or you're using your teeth and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm going to tie these. Again, my bite tippet is 30-pound. My main leader that's going to go back to my braid is 16-pound fluoro. So nice stealth here, nice abrasion resistance here. I'm going to start with my bite tippet leader going right to left with a fairly small but usable tag. We don't want this tag to be crazy because we're going to end up cutting a lot of it off. And then I've got my very fine 16-pound stealth leader coming off this end, make a cross. I'm going to keep a pinch in here so I can keep a gap. So I'm going to start my wind up. So with clip classic, I'm going to do at least 7. You could do more. The smaller the diameter, like in the case of this 16-pound, the smaller the diameter, the more winds you're going to want to do. So you got a substantial knot. So this is about 7. And I'm going to bring that alongside up in here. And you can see now, because I've run up that, the standing into that line, my tag length is pretty short, which is good. We don't want to waste our precious monofilament or fluorocarbon line. So we're going to hold that in position, and we're going to keep this gap here. And we're going to now start with our larger diameter, heavier gauge line, keeping that gap. We're going to do our winds up the standing end of our fine main leader line. And here we don't need to be so persnickety, but we're going to do at least 5 wraps. This is the heavier gauge. And we're going to put this through here and put it there. Your knot's basically done, but now you have to cinch this knot down tight. And you've got really short pieces of tag coming out. So this is where these come in. They're super handy. You put this on here and you just lay it up against the edge of that. And what that does is that manages your tag lines for you as your third and fourth hand. I can let that knot go. Now, if you let that knot go without these, they're just going to fall apart. But this is going to hold this knot in place until I can do my seating of the knot and cinching of the knot, and I don't have to worry about the knot falling apart on me. So I'm going to pull this knot. Ordinarily, you would put some saliva on that knot, and you can see that that first knot is seated. And now I take off my clips, and I'm going to seat this knot, and I'm going to get a perfect blood knot. All right, so now I've completed seating my blood knot. I can take my nippers. These are connected to a clumsy pair of pliers. So for the video, I'm just going to use standard clippers. The beauty of the blood knot is you can, like the Alberto, you can trim these very close to where there's virtually no tag. You're not going to take this through your guides. It's a clunky knot, but it's not designed to go through the guides. This is usually kept just long enough to tie your terminal tackle on. And so this little bit here, once you get your terminal tackle knot, you've only got about 4 to 6 inches of line coming out of the fish's mouth, but it's heavier duty line. And if this line were to lay across where a fish is laying in a pothole, they're hardly going to see it. So you have the benefit of stealth on your fine main leader, but you have the benefit of abrasion resistance on your bite leader that you tie to your lure or your hook, terminal tackle, whichever it is. And so that's using the bite leader. This is a very small, little, simple rig, easy to keep in your tackle box. And it allows you to have a third and fourth hand so that that knot does not fall apart. If you have to tie this on the water, you don't need a stable environment, and you don't need to waste a lot of tag line being super generous with your tag line so you can bring it up to your mouth and hold it in your thumb and all of that. It makes it so much easier to build one of these things from a standard alligator clip to be your third and fourth hand when making the blood knot, and it makes it so much easier. I hope this helps. Thank you very much.